Greetings, gang, and welcome to Pro Photo Tips. My name is Josh Cripps, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Joshua Cripps Photography. In the first part of this lesson, we learned what a stop is and how to use shutter speed to adjust our exposure by any arbitrary number of stops. Then in the second part of the lesson, we learned how to use aperture and ISO to do the exact same thing. We also learned that no matter which setting you're changing, a stop is a stop is a stop, which means that if you use your shutter speed to darken your photo by a stop, then use your aperture to brighten your photo by a stop, those two images will have the exact same exposure. However, they'll have completely different settings. And this is incredibly cool because it lets you make creative decisions about your photography. Say you're shooting a waterfall at ISO 100, f8, and 1/4 of a second. Now, the water looks okay, but if you want it to look even silkier, well, then you need to make your shutter speed longer. If you double that 1/4 second, then double it again to 1 second, you've got a much longer shutter speed, but you've also increased your exposure by 2 stops. So in order to not blow out your photo, you've got to take those 2 stops away somewhere else, either in your ISO or your aperture. In most situations, you're going to use your aperture. In order to darken things by 2 stops, we need to go from f8 to f11 to f16. And now you can see we have the exact same exposure as we did before, but with a much longer shutter, and consequently, much silkier water because of it. Let's take a look at another example, these flowers and mountains. This photo was taken at 1/100th of a second and f8, which put most of the scene into nice, sharp focus. But say I wanted to draw more attention to just the flowers, well, I could do that by using a shallow depth of field. So if I open up my aperture from f8 to f4, I get that nice shallow depth of field, but I've also increased the exposure of my photo by 2 stops. So then, in order to compensate for that, I need to shorten my shutter speed by 2 stops, from 1/100th of a second to 1/200th to 1/400th. Again, I get the exact same exposure as before, but with a completely different creative result. And of course, you can also throw ISO in there to give you one more variable to play with when you need both your shutter speed and your aperture to be at very specific values. Now get out there and practice. When you really understand how to do this, that's when photography becomes so much fun because it lets you inject your creative vision into your photos. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. You can also join our newsletter for heaps more photography tutorials. And if you have time, check out this video. Until next time, have fun and happy shooting.